Welcome to this tutorial in which we are going to solve this Cambridge IT paper 4 for October-November 2022, and our focus is going to be on vectors creation, which is in task 2. The question reads, we are to create an accurate vector graphic copy of the aeroplane shown in the plain JPEG image. The new aeroplane should be colored pure yellow as shown. Add the designs to the body and the wings as shown. Then we are to save the image in SVG format as vplane followed by a center number, candidate number. And then we are to add a ribbon streamer to the tail of the vplane image as shown. Then we are to save that also in SVG format as vplane plus followed by your center number and candidate number. To begin with, I'm using an artboard of 1000 pixels by width and 500 pixels by height. To be able to create an accurate copy of the plane as instructed, it is advisable to place the image that was given in the source file on the artboard and try to trace it out as accurately as possible. So let's go to File, look for Place, and in your source folder, select Plane. Click on Place, and so you have a preview moving around with the cursor. So all we do is click and drag to the preferred size. We can later resize the plane and release. So we have to make an accurate copy of this. Since we are not going to edit this in particular, my advice is to go into Appearance. If you don't have Appearance on your right here, go into Window and click on Appearance. There we have it. Select Opacity and let's reduce the opacity to 50 or 40. Next we go into the Layers panel. Create a new layer. Look for the plane layer, rename it as plane, and lock it down. So in so doing, we can't move it around, or it won't move around in case it's clicked. So to begin with, we pick our pen tool and ensure that the layer we created is selected. Pick the pen tool, select yellow from the swatches and black from the outline, and increase the outline size to say 3. Next, we start tracing our plane. You can start from the tail. When you get to a curved area, you click and drag to create a curvature. And in order to see through our plane, you can go to Opacity on your right in the Properties panel or Appearance here, and reduce the opacity of your fill to say 50. Then come back and keep drawing. I'm going to go this way because I'm going to draw a separate wing. I'll do that same thing for this side and join it at the end. I'm going to draw a separate wing for this side. And since we can see through, we can create the curvature. And then we do the same thing for the tail end. And for the tail end on the other side, and the wing on the other side. Now you can draw it on top of the plane because we are going to use arrangement to rearrange it to the other end. So you can select the first tracing with it and now increase the opacity to 100. Now select the other wings we created, right click and go to arrange and select send to back. We do the same for this one, arrange, send to back. We still need to get the cockpit here, so I'm selecting the fuselage of the plane once again and I'll reduce the opacity once again just to see that part. And we can go into the layers panel and hide this wing for the meantime, this one, so that we can trace out our cockpit. So once again, we pick the pen tool, and this time around, we select a fill of white. I'm going to pick my magnifying tool to zoom in a bit. Go back to the pen tool again and trace that portion out. So it has a curved bottom. So we go back and select the body of the plane and then increase the opacity. And we go into the layers panel and unhide the wing on the other side. The nose around the propeller is supposed to be black, so I'll pick the pen tool once again, ensure that my fill is black, and just draw, make something like this, and just click on my selection tool. Now select both the fuselage and the black portion and go and pick your shape builder tool. Come back to the area that is not needed, hold down the Alt key and click once. So for the propellers, we pick the pen tool once again. This time, ensure that you have no fill, but you have an outline. So we draw something like this to create one side of the propeller. Press escape. Now go back and select the stroke we just did. Increase the size to 20. And in the profile, select profile with 1. So you have one side of the propeller. So all you need to do is hold down Alt to create a duplicate like this. We need to make a quick reference to the propellers we've just created. So let's go into the layers panel and hide the top layer on which we created our new trace, and take a look at how the propellers should look like. So the opacity should be a bit reduced and there should be a bit of blurriness. So we go back and hide what we've just created. Select both propellers. You can hold Shift by selecting both and right click, group. Now we go to Effect at the top and select Blur. Under Blur, we select Gaussian Blur. Make sure Preview is selected and we can place our radius of blur around 10. Click OK. Now let's go to the appearance on the right, and under opacity we can reduce it to say 60. We now need to create the numerals on the wings, and making a quick reference to the question, we realize that the number is 42 in a white circle with a black outline on the fuselage and on both wings. So now it's time to hide the image that we used in tracing. So I unlock and unhide and it goes away. Now let's create our label. Looking at the number, you realize the number 2 has an extension, so it's a serif font. So after picking your type tool, you can come down here to character and select Times New Roman. And let's type 42. Increase the font size to say 60. Now let's pick the ellipse tool from the shapes. Ensure that the fill is white and the outline is black. But before you do that, make sure your number is not selected, else you have this happening. So I'm going to press Ctrl Z and then click anywhere so that nothing is selected. And this time pick my ellipse tool, select the white again and an outline of black with a stroke size of 3. Now I can draw my circle somewhere here. Pick my number 42, place it in front of, so it has to go in front of. So I'll right click the number, arrange, bring to front, and place it in my ellipse. And I'm going to increase the size a little bit. And ensure that it's in the middle. You can use the align tool here to do that. And then when we are okay, we can select everything and right click and say group. So next I'll create a duplicate by holding down the Alt key and another one. So we have our 3 numerals or 3 labels ready to be placed on the plane. So first I pick the first one that is meant for this wing, and I turn it to 70 degrees. So now we place the number on the wing and resize it to the preferred size. We can always make a quick reference to the question paper. So this size I think is okay. So what I've realized that the outline is a bit too thick, so I'm going to ungroup and select a circle alone and reduce the outline size to 1. Come back and select the ellipse and the number by holding shift and group them once again. Now I'll go and pick my share tool. Let me zoom in on this. Place the anchor of the share tool in the top right corner as you try to place the number on the wing perspectively, just like this. You can use the 4 corners of, or the 4 anchor points appearing on the circle to do that. Then I'm going to zoom out, have a look at the result, pick my selection tool and rotate it a little bit. So I can still make a quick reference to the question paper. Now we need to make a duplicate on the other side. So again, you can just select this one, hold down Alt and drag and drop to the other end. And all you need to do is to reduce the size so that it looks a bit smaller than what we have here. For the last one, we can pick one of the numerals we created, reduce the size, and as I did earlier, ungroup, select the ellipse, reduce the stroke size to 1, select again, group, and place it somewhere back here. So it's always important to make quick reference to the question paper so that you have your sizes right and placements right as well. So this should be somewhere here, which I think is okay. But what I've also realized is the numerals are a bit thicker. So we can ungroup, select the number 42, and change the Times New Roman font style from regular to bold. So we can do that for all these others as well. Regular to bold. Same thing for this one. Ungroup. Change it from regular to bold. We do not need this one, so this can go away. And now we can, let's look at the tail end. Okay, there's no number on the tail. We can select the entire plane and group. Let's make some little changes to the propeller by changing its color. Let's go into the layers panel and look for the propellers there. Here we have them. Can select them and change the stroke color to gray. Yeah, I think it looks better now. Now let's export our file in SVG format. So we go to File, Export, Export As, and from the Save As type we select SVG. The question demands that we name it vplane underscore. I'm going to just add a random center number and candidate number, and then we say export. You can leave these settings as it is and click OK. So lastly, we need to add a ribbon streamer to the tail end of vplane as shown in the image. So let's get back into Illustrator and resize our plane by selecting everything. Resize it a little bit, bring it to your right, and on the left side of your artboard, we pick the pen tool, make sure it has no fill, but it has a red stroke. You're going to draw a straight line by holding shift from one end to the other, just like this. And then if you have this extension, just press escape to take it away. So all we have is this red stroke. Now make sure your stroke is selected. Go to Effect, Distort and Transform, and select Zigzag. Make sure the preview is on. So what we have is a zigzag formation. And ridges per segment, change it to 3. Now we change the points from corner to smooth. And let's make a quick reference to the question paper. So we have 2 ridges on the top and 1 ridge in the middle. So we have you can see our 2 ridges pointing downwards. And let's reduce the size to 8 and click OK. Now with the stroke still selected, bring the cursor to the bottom left corner or bottom right corner and hold down shift whilst you rotate it 180 degrees. So you should have something like this. Now select it once again, hold down Alt and create a duplicate. Bring the duplicate way down here. So you're going to use that later. Select this one. This time around, we are going to increase the size of the stroke to say 20. 20 is not big enough. 100. 100 is okay. And go to Object, Expand Appearance. Go to Object once again and Expand. Click OK. Quick reference to the question paper once again. It has an outline, so we provide an outline for it. Come here, select black as the outline. The size can be 1, which is okay. Now to the duplicate we created, we need to create a text and place it on this so that the text follows the wavy form of the flag that we've just created. So to do that, select the duplicate we've created, go to Object and Expand Appearance. Now with it still selected, pick the Type tool and look for Type on Path. So now after you've picked your Type on Path tool, bring it to the alternative, click once, so you have something like this, which is cool. And we go into Type and in menu, look for Type on Path and look for Type on Path options. Make sure the preview is on, and just by the side of Effect, click on flip, then click OK. Bring your cursor back and let's type out open day. Now let's select our selection tool. We realize that when you type, the entire thing is not showing. So click on your selection tool and look at this handle here. When you see an arrow pointing to the right, it means you can extend the end of where your text should end. So I'm bringing it to the extreme right, and I select my text. This is already selected, and I'm going to increase the size a bit further. And there's another handle here as well. Can drag it to our right to sort of center our text. And now we can pick the entire thing and place it in our ribbon. Let's make a quick reference to the question paper. Okay, it also has serif font on the streamer. So we can select the entire thing now, right click, group, so that we can resize it, place it behind the tail. Something like this is cool. And then we pick our pen tool, make sure there's no fill, but we should have a stroke. Can increase the stroke size to say 3. And let's draw something like this, sort of a rectangle. Pick your selection tool. I think the outline is too thick, so I'm going to reduce it to 2. Select it, right click, arrange, and send to back. Select the entire artwork and bring it to the middle of the stage. And this time around, we are going to save it as another SVG, vplane plus, followed by your center number and candidate number. So finally, we go to export, export as, and then we have vplane plus. And then I'm entering my candidate or center number randomly, just any random numbers, and I say export. Then we click OK. And I think we are done for this part of the task. So now that we've exported our work, we can deal with the animation, but that I will deal with in the next video. Thanks for sparing your time to watch this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.